My phone died on me, so I'm going to continue on this video quite fast because I don't have enough battery left or memory space. Sorry. The district attorney had because their New York attorney's office, it's New York State officials. So they have Hillary Lynn Edward Thomas registration for her driving license. They know she used a fake name. They have the proof. They had it then. And they have the fact that at that time it was not, the Devonshire was not her legal address. They have everything like what address and name she used to file for her taxes, driving license, so-called wedding certificate that I can explain to you in another video. But as I was a publicist on major film in Hollywood, I can tell you that, of course, in real life, it's not normal to have a fake wife on contract. But in Hollywood, very rich and famous people with troubled life or very specific reason hire somebody to be the front image of a life they want to display or that they need to display to keep their contract, their insurance, and continue to make millions. So for them, it's worth it to lie publicly and have this person on contract with all kinds of non-disclosure clause about like why you're not a legal bride, but why you are an employee, and on and on and on. Like, for example, if the person is gay, if the person is gay but wants to be perceived as a sex symbol and have a straight life, they can have a spouse to pretend and for years, and it's a pre-established contract. In exchange, the person get paid for doing that service, like an escort on Craigslist, kind of, but a higher level, but it's the same thing as an escort, but it's seen in Hollywood. Or if the person's gay, or if the person's got a need to reestablish his reputation, or just simply if the person's got a disease like HIV or something like that, and the rumor is going on in the industry, not necessarily with the public, but like in production offices, and then you lose your contract, or they're not sure you're going to pass the insurance because there's some disease, maybe some dementia as well, that if you fully disclose, for example, you have HIV, then you have all kinds of consequences that come with the treatment of such a disease that could exclude you from being an A-lister, multi-million-dollar blockbuster Hollywood films. And it could also be the consequences of the treatment that cause you dementia, tremor, and all kinds of things that could make you, for example, do the wrong thing at the wrong time, like and end up causing an accident on a movie set or a death of a person on a movie set. So if you can't make millions and millions, and you're talking about 10, 15, 20, maybe more millions every year with a situation, sexual orientation, or a disease. Some people, they want to continue make those amount of millions, and they would contract a fake wife. And so, anyway, I've been offered that contract, and I refused it. And we kept talking to each other while he was proposing the same offer to somebody else. And that somebody else is Hillary Lynn Edward Thomas, and she took the contract because it's better than what she was doing prior, which I will disclose in the next video in more specific ways. But it is like being an escort, right? And I think, it's a question of integrity and truth. You don't do things like that. So anyway, district attorney would know all those things, and yet I was arrested. I was vilified around the world right away. My name, my reputation was damaged to the core in an hour from my wrongful arrestation based on Hilaria's lie. So when I give the information that Alec was a friend since 15 years at that time, that in my cell phone you could see the fact that I was going there at 4 o'clock in the afternoon to take a coffee with him. So there's no ground for stalking and harassment, because it was not. Only HIlaria is saying that because it serves her own purpose. But now at this point, NYPD's at fault. And at this point, the district attorney that spent not even 5 minutes of investigation is at fault. They took almost a year of investigation on the Rust set for a murder, but they arrested me without a second of investigation, and they arrested me and detained my phone. They took my phone in my purse, and because I said everything is in my phone, look in my phone, and they saw that I was telling the truth, and it was not serving the district attorney in NYPD, because they would have been held accountable for, the damage they already caused me. They would have paid me a compensation, but maybe the people, like the police officer, the investigator, the people on file would have lost their job. So they didn't want to. So they took my phone with no warrant. For 2.5 years, I got my phone back after Rikers Island, after a wrongful detention. And I got my phone back, and it took 2.5 years. And they made sure, I petitioned so many times, and they made sure I could not bring this phone as an exhibit of proof at my trial. So everybody's saying, well, if you were a friend with Alec Baldwin and you had all kinds of email and conversation and SMS, which was mostly SMS, how come you cannot prove it? I said they detained my phone, and they refused to give it to me so I can exhibit the proof at court, because it was serving the purpose of their mistakes. Who was the governor of the state? Andrew Cuomo. Andrew Cuomo's a good friend of Alec Baldwin. Like you could see in the interview yesterday with Chris Cuomo, they're best buddy, and they're like good friends, and you kill someone, but I'm gonna be your enabler on a TV interview because we're best buddy, and we hang along, and you defend me and I defend you, and you rub my back and I rub yours, right? So, and at that time, the other person, the key person, was Eric Schneiderman, and you could see on my Twitter it's pinned, and Eric Schneiderman was the New York general attorney. So he and Andrew Cuomo, governor of New York State, they refused my ask when I asked to change my venue. They refused that I was trial with a jury. They wanted to keep the control with one of the judge they choose, so I could be forced into taking a plea bargain, which I did not, and then forced into 6 months of jail. And they say then she returned in our country, and that's it, But it's not that's it. I'm walking on death row since 10.5 years. I never returned to work. I never returned to my friends, never returned to my family. I lost my friends, my family, my entire work, my entire income. So instead of having any income, I'm eating my house equity. That's gone, but that's what I did. And my retirement plan, I cut off my insurance. I have an old car that is 16 years old. It's like my life is dysfunctional to the core. I'm forced to eat at food bank, rotten and expired product that are now not labeled anymore because they want to hide the expiration date. So they take off the label, and I have full of deadly allergies. And my life isn't. There's no safety. It's danger. Trying to rent an apartment and live without discrimination. I'll make a video about that. Trying to manage your credit and have the same opportunity as any other citizen, it's impossible. I was denied any access to welfare because New York State refused to collaborate with them to give my release of detention paper. So I haven't had the last bottom of safety nets socially established by my government, which is welfare and all the welfare program, like welfare housing, like governmental housing and this and that, to avoid that I end up on the street. And when you end up on the street, you end up, as a woman on the street, you end up dead with asthma and allergy and all kinds of condition, and my health has decreased. I'm walking on death row socially. And it's for me, seeing Hilaria wanting to reestablish her image and pretending to be a benefactor, which she's not there to help. She's there to take. She's there to profit. She's there to absorb an opportunity. Another one, after the kids hypersexualized, that it's always naked and underwear on her Instagram for pedophile amusement. So she can have all kinds of kids endorsement and cream endorsement and pretending to be a good mom type of endorsement and make money. It's not about the integrity and the safety of those kids. It's about her and her and her. And now she wants to use the death row walk of a poor man. Kosoul Chanthakoumanne in Texas will be executed, will be killed in few hours, and she's using that because she pretends she wants to help the justice system. Seriously? You want to help the justice system? She got me wrongfully arrested, and then you could see it's all on the media. She pretended I contacted her breaking my protection agreement on her fake address and fake name, which would not be enforceable, but she pretended that, and she filed new accusation against me. A few months later, I got arrested at court and spent 24 hours sleeping on the cold floor with no food in jail in New York because she pretended I break the agreement. Then they figure out it was not my Twitter handle, and so they let down that. But I went to jail again for nothing. And then I got out of Rikers. I'm back in Canada. And she decided that I was chasing her in New York in 2015 or 2014 in the fall. Well, I was in Montreal in the Hospital General for an appointment for surgery. And the nurse and the receptionist of the doctor's office, as well as the doctor in Montreal General Hospital, confirmed I was there for a surgery. A surgery that is the beginning of the decrease of my health because of a wrongful conviction, constant stress, unable to sleep, and bad nutrition and bad living condition that is caused by three false accusations based on lies. And now she wants to help somebody on death row, and you're going to be a journalist and you're going to say, oh, she's helping and she gives a voice and this and that. If you do that and you don't say Alec Baldwin stalker is also saying something, she is walking on death row, and because of the lies of Hilaria Baldwin. And if Hilaria would have wanted to help fix the legal system, she would have looked in her own backyard and fixed what she did to me and stop opening our Instagram account for pedophile, like all those kids naked on underwear, or when she shows her breast and all kinds of sexualized photo. That is also a crime. And it's funny that people like Chris Como, they say, oh, poor Hilaria, must be difficult for her to go through what happened with you shooting the director Elena. I'm like, it's not difficult for her. She is willing to take advantage of everything, including the death of Elena Uchtin. I'm sorry. This is my real accent. I'm not faking being French like she faked being Spanish. So, and she would use the death of somebody she's not even involved. Is walking on death row in Texas, and that is for her good publicity to restore her image. She would use children to sexualize them if it serves her to gain money and fame. She sent an innocent to jail, and then she filed 2 other false accusations. And they knew, NYPD knew I was in Canada, the last one, so it was impossible. And she signed Hilaria Baldwin, which we know it's not her legal name again. And NYPD knows, and never they turn their eyes on what's wrong with that person. She accused her 3 times. One time I got sent to jail because I was not able to afford a legal defense. I didn't have $500,000. Maybe Kosoul Chanthakoumanne in Texas was on legal aid. Maybe he did not afford like $500,000 lawyer, and that's why maybe he's walking on death row. I don't believe in death sentence for that purpose. It's just a question if you're rich and famous like Alec Baldwin and you kill